Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Melissa Remfer, and I am the founder of the Brilliance in Business community. And I am excited because we have another amazing webinar. And I know I keep saying that they're amazing webinars, but there's something about when you're able to bring great content with amazing people all set up so that you and your business can grow. It just kind of all falls under that category of amazing. So first of all, I want to apologize. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm kind of the combination of the frog and the mouse going on right now. I've got the allergy like craziness going on. If you've been following any of the news, we've had all these storms here in California. I'm in the middle of the redwood forest, and then I have trees blooming, and it's a mess. So I'm sitting here going, oh my gosh, my voice sounds horrible, and I've been drinking tea, and I'm on some meds, and I know some of you have been sending me over here, try this. So I've been doing all kinds of things, but I want to apologize for my froggy squeakiness. I'll just call it for what it is today. So I just will throw that out there. But I would just want to say thank you very much for joining us today. I want to say it's going to be an exciting webinar. It's going to be great content, so make sure you grab some of those. And I'm really excited about what we're going to be doing because being the authentic leader you are. And I got a chance to know Trudy through, oh my gosh, kind of like a serendipity moment. She was sitting
Yep.
next to me. Is that kind of true, the way it worked for you? So,
It's
so she's connecting with us all the way from Canada. So I love how we can do international stuff. Trudy came down to California and she was at a conference, and they had us during this conference, and it was one of those where it's like speaking, 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 sales pitch. You know how those go. So we were at this conference, and during the lunchtime, her and I both paid for an upgraded networking event. And so we're like, okay, I didn't know her, she didn't know me, and this was the second day, and we now had to be seated in specific groups based on our target markets. And so I was like, okay, well, Brilliance in Business, as a collaborative community, we probably are business oriented. It's like we're kind of really big in what we do, but I was trying to find which area it was. And needless to say, the table that I sat next to, Trudy happened to be sitting next to me. And we went around, we were introducing ourselves. And then next thing I know, during the next day, she needed a place to sit, and the only empty seat that there was during the main session was next to me. So we kind of chatted a little bit about that. And then more serendipity, she ended up messing up, and I say this with love. She thought she was flying out on one day and didn't, and put a post in a group that we're a part of for that event and says, by the way, does anyone have a hotel room or a place I can crash for the night because I messed up on my flight plans? And I
I forgot.
was so me being me, I'm like, I have a guest room if you don't mind, traveling an hour and hanging out with me and taking a drive to the redwood forest. And sure enough, here she comes in and she takes a car ride home with me. And fast forward, now she's part of this amazing community that I am, and she's one of our board members for Brilliance in Business, and she's just become a dear friend. So it was just kind of like, yeah, sure, sit next to me. We'll just see what happens. So
Exactly.
I think it's kind of cool because as we're going to be talking a little bit today for all of you, being the authentic leader you are, um, I'm really discovering my own leadership style is very much come join me. We'll figure it out. I never actually thought about just like my easygoing. I mean, yeah, I get stuff done, but just my easygoing, just come welcomeness has actually been paying off, and because people are drawn to that, I don't put up any airs with anything. So
It's a
with
beautiful thing.
with that being said, I do want to give a very, very warm welcome to Trudy, and to give a little bit of a background since I just kind of been rambling for a couple of minutes. So Trudy Ames, let me give you a nice little happy picture. Actually, I just realized I did not give Trudy access to the thing. So give me just a second. I want to make sure Trudy's going to be able to control the PowerPoint since she's going to be speaking with us. Yep. Okay. Trudy's got control as
Oh,
well. Okay.
oh,
See, I love this. You can just be flexible as you're doing things.
isn't it great?
So I'm going to kind of go so you can actually see who Trudy is. Let me go to the next slide.
Perfect.
So this is Trudy. Trudy is just delightful. So Trudy is actually the founder of Academy of Becoming, which is really an exciting way in being and building your own, being like your own authentic leader and being empowered and actually using those own like innate skills that make you who you are and how that can show up in your organization. And I love it because she not only like looks at like how do you work and why you work in a certain way, but also provides skill sets and also this whole level of like this, I don't want to use the word spirituality, though the element is definitely there, but like the bringing out the best in you so that you can bring out the best in others is really
Yeah.
my experience when I work with Trudy. And I love that because I just think that is so amazing. Trudy is this proud mom of 3 kids. Woohoo, go for being a mom. And she's and actually it's funny because I have her little bio here, but I'm like I'm gonna add on a few little things. So she's actually a professionally certified coach and she's a higher ground leadership coach. She's more than just that. Trudy's actually in the process of completing all of the necessary steps to become a mastered certified coach with International Coaching Federation. So she has definitely done the work. And she also teaches other people in coaching. So she knows how this whole system works with coaching and how you can use it and also how she's using this as part of her business. She has supported and advocated for thousands of community social service individuals, coached and mentored hundreds of coaches in training. I told you, she's been doing this for a while. And she coaches hundreds of entrepreneurs and business leaders. She's a leadership coach, a mentor, and instructor. And I love that she specializes in conscious empowerment, building emotional intelligence and capacity, and releasing the inner blocks that hold people back. She's all about your authentic leadership and what is needed to actually have you fully be there. So with that being said, I'm going to hand this over to Trudy because you guys don't really want to hear me going squeaky, squeaky, squeaky throughout this whole time. But I will ask questions. And I do also want to just a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure all of you have your phones on silent because I know they kind of go buzzy and they kind of get distracting. Take notes. Grab your glass of water or your coffee or tea or whatever it is that you're drinking. And there will be a chat box, so go ahead and just write questions in the chat box and we'll be monitoring them and we'll respond to them as well. I'll keep an eye on them. And let's get going.
Awesome, Melissa. Thank you so much. That was such a lovely welcome. You reminded me of so many moments in that, and it's such an honor to be here.
Yay!
Melissa's an amazing host, an amazing businesswoman, and I know that I am so lucky and fortunate to have her in my world. So it's a beautiful thing coming together. We're going to dive in today to this idea of authentic leadership. Okay, so we're going to cover what authenticity is, we're going to cover what influence is and how we interact with it, what being an authentic leader really means and what it doesn't mean so that we can look at those contrasts. And we'll wrap up with this idea of a roadmap to support you guys moving forward and how you can really apply this and implement in your life, okay? And then we'll move on to special gifts and, of course, the recap and wrapping it up, okay? So let's dive in. If I can get my mouse to work here. This is, there we go. So this idea of being an authentic leader ties in to this word, authenticity, right? What does that mean and why is it relevant to leadership? Why is it important? Okay, and what this is all about is the fact that, let's use what we see in the world as an example so that we really know what we're talking about. Think about the leaders that you know in your world right now, out there in corporate America, in Canada. You know, look around at who you know to be leaders. And what the common thread that we see today is people going, where are all our good leaders? You know, where are they? What's going on? We see it in the corporate world. We see it with people demanding better service by demanding real service, right? People are saying, we don't want to be lied to. We don't want to be conned, right? We want authentic, real, honest service. We want to work with companies that we trust, right? Companies that value the planet, companies that value people. So this is the day that we're in today, right? People are waking up and people are becoming more and more aware of what's behind the scenes and what's going on when they make their decision to purchase. Right, from the food we eat, right, whether it's been sprayed with chemicals and it's no good for us, right down to manufacturing cars and all these kinds of things, and the companies that aren't all that honest about what they're reporting. this is our environment today, right? So when we talk about authentic leadership, this is what we're talking about. It's about who we really are and bringing ourselves to the table, right? The truth of our vision, what we're standing for, and having the courage to stand for that, right? That's a really big piece of this idea of authenticity. So when people aren't in that place, what happens is there's a mismatch, right? We might hear their words and we might hear them express something or say something, but something doesn't line up. We don't feel it. There's something going on that isn't there. And that comes back to what Melissa was saying in the beginning as to Academy of Becomings and why I do this. This is what it's all about. I want all of you guys, you know, all the leaders out there in the world to be able to make the change that they really want to see in the world, right? And this is something that I talk about with leaders all the time, and I hear them expressing their frustration that they're just not being heard, that they're not getting the results they're looking for. They can't seem to build those relationships, that network that they're looking for. And this is a really big part of it. Our ability to be clear, to have people actually hear us and connect with us and know where to go with whether they want to work with us or not. All of this comes from how we're showing up in the world, right? And if we're not showing up in this kind of clear, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a real congruency that needs to be there. People don't feel it. What happens is they feel this kind of confusion or uncertainty, and then they won't make commitments. They won't follow up. It's really an interesting, call it a phenomena, right? Because it's still being studied and understood. But even in the sales area, it's being talked about. Why do people not get the sales they're looking for? And often people won't pull out their wallet and actually make a commitment unless they feel that, unless they feel that resonance of truth, that they're going to be looked out for, that what they're being promised is going to be delivered. And even if they can't specifically speak to it, of exactly what it is or what isn't there, they feel like it isn't there, and then they won't make a decision, right? So it holds people back. It's actually very powerful for us to really wrap our heads around this and see how it may or may not be showing up in our life, right? So let's take a look at this. How do we know when we're really being truly authentic? Okay, because I know most of us would say, I'm going to bet that you guys are already saying, well, that's me, you know, I'm being authentic. And I would agree with you. I would agree with you from the point of view that you are being true to your vision in working towards it, right? In creating your business, in how you show up in the world, in trying to be what it is that you're creating. What often happens is the stuff that we don't know about, and that's really what I'm talking about today, the stuff that's behind the scenes, right? So it's not about the stuff on the surface. We come up with a business name, we come up with something that we're doing, and we go out there and do it, right? Or if it's a nonprofit, we go out there to get those results. It's what's happening behind the scenes. And so the one test, the true test that nobody can argue with, right, that we can't, there's just no dispute about it, is what are your results? If you're getting the results that give you that feedback that it's working, that people are hearing you, if you're getting people saying yes, if people want to get on board with you, yes, if people are committed and getting on board with you, if they're buying, right, if they're committing to work with you, signing those contracts, if you're a nonprofit, if you're getting the fundraising results that you targeted and your team is doing the work that you wanted them to do, then yes, you are being that truly authentic person, okay? And now the flip side of that, of course, is if you're not getting those results, what does that mean? And this isn't a negative, right? This isn't anything about you being bad or me being bad. It's about looking at that reflection and being able to say, what do I need to shift, or what's going on in my subconscious, in my belief systems, in how I'm showing up in the world that's causing this disconnect where I'm not getting the results I'm looking for.
Trudy, you're bringing up something really interesting, and I have a little an example of this if this could help you, and maybe the
Sure.
listeners as well, because you've seen this as well. So a lot of you who do get to spend a time with me, I've always been really open and honest about the fact that I have lupus. You know, it's what led me to actually open my first coaching practice and everything else. Well, something happened, oh, but about 2.5 months ago. I started to have some pretty bad health problems. And I had this fear, and I did not want to actually state it. And I'll I went back to a group of people, and Trudy's part of this group of us that are doing the big giving, and it's all of us collaborators. And some stuff actually wasn't happening, and it wasn't happening because I wasn't showing up. Because honestly, I was a little bit overwhelmed with all of my doctor's appointments and just me not having capacity.
Right.
And I was so it wasn't even so much fear. It was ashamed that I was letting people down because I wasn't sticking to the timeline that I created because of being sick.
Right.
And I remember finally getting everybody together on a call and sharing with people and even announcing into the group. And I'm like, I'm embarrassed to say this. Here's what's going on. And I realized I was hiding because I didn't want you guys to think I was, and actually what came up was, I didn't want you to think I was incompetent because I have a health issue. That was really like the core of everything.
Mhm.
And I remember the response I got from everybody else was just flat out amazing. And I mean, it was like when you can show up in your weakness, that brings out so much more power than people who try to not, who try just to cover up those things. And then
Yes.
one of the other things that happened, Adrienne, who was our MC for the Big Giving, she and I didn't realize had her own health issue going on, and there was something about me coming forward. It gave her courage to come forward, and she went on a radio show right after all this happened, and somehow a question was asked, and she was able to be honest about her own issues. And she said the audience members who were calling into the radio station were just all like, yes, why are we not like this? Why do we try to all come across like we're perfect? And thank you for saying this because, you know, there is issues that come up. And it was like this ripple effect that happened. And yet if I did not look at what was holding me back, where my fear was, what I was ashamed of, I would not have seen that change in Adrienne or let alone what she was able to do with those other people. And yeah, because
Yeah, right on.
I wasn't being authentic at all about it because I was like, oh, they're going to judge me. They're going to think less than me because I haven't done X, Y, and Z because I'm now incompetent. Yeah.
These are the things, Melissa, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. There's a real key distinction here. You got honest and with that showed your vulnerability. And that's why people relate because we're all human and we all have these things and we're all afraid of being vulnerable. And so
Yeah.
we've got this thing where we want to step up and support each other and we do that better than we do for ourselves often. And so you also modeled, you gave that permission because you gave it to yourself. You gave it to everybody else. And that showed up. That was the ripple effect that you created as a result of being vulnerable. And let's contrast that with what was going on before you decided to share, which was hiding. And we can tell by your story that your hiding was because it was personal, because it was private, because you were afraid of what people might think and judge, and all of that's valid, and none of it is about you being bad or wrong or anything like that, right? And yet what happens is this feeling of hiding, this feeling of resistance, and that's people feel that. They feel it on an energetic body kind of level, and often people can't put words to it. They can't speak to it and say, I know what's going on, but they feel it. And so because you're holding back, they hold back. And
Mm.
that's exactly what happens, right? And it has nothing to do with you doing anything dishonest or wrong or bad or anything like that. And that's why this stuff is so important, is because a lot of our great leaders today are real people who have things like this that they're holding back on, that in no way has anything to do with who they are as leaders, but because they're holding back on it, other people feel that and other people respond to it, right? So we can see that connection. That was a great example. I hope that helped everybody to see more where we're going with this too.
And I want you guys to realize, and it's funny, actually, I literally just had this thought. I was like, I wonder if I need to think about that as part of the branding about myself is I will be out there, I will be vulnerable, and I will talk about the things that we may be embarrassed to talk about or don't want to own or say, because I know if I can do this and I can create a space for you guys to do this, what are you going to be doing with your clients? Because it gives your clients permission to be fully like, yeah, this isn't working or I'm struggling here. That's what I want to model. And it's so interesting. I never actually thought about that until you just mentioned that, Trudy. I'm like, that's what we're doing. And that's the authentic leader that I want to be is one that's going to be modeling this for you with your clients.
Yes, I just got goosebumps all over, Melissa.
Yeah, I honestly never thought about that, but that's exactly to the core. I'm like, yeah, that's how I want to show up. And I know when I'm willing to go, yeah, this isn't working the way I want to, or I'm embarrassed to say this, so many more doors open up because other people have permission to say, yeah, I'm here, kind of here too.
Yep, here's what's going on for me. Exactly. And then it changes the entire energy into this place of honest shares and open hearts and real people. And boy, can we make things happen from that place, right?
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing stopping us at that point because we know we're I think I might as well jump in with this thought here actually. They're doing a lot of work on the brain right now. And when I talk about how we don't often know what this is, what you're describing, Melissa, and this how the environment changes, we don't often have words to put to it like she said this or he said that. You know, it's not usually concrete like that. But what's happening is our limbic brain is scanning all the time for this question of, can I trust this person? Mm-hmm. And we're scanning for body language, for tone of voice, for words that are used and whether they actually align with other words that are used or whether they're in conflict with each other, body energy, all kinds of things like that, eye contact. And so, you know, if we're hiding something, like for you it was health and that's what you're hiding, another person would feel that sense of hiding and then the limbic brain says, no, this person can't be trusted. And yet we know it's not even relevant, like your health thing had nothing to do with a business conversation.
No.
But it's because we pick up that sense, right? So it's fascinating, and there's going to be more and more stuff out there in the world as time goes by because there's some great minds working on this and how important it is for us to really get this. So let's tie this into our real world. If I can get this slide to move along, see if that works. It doesn't want to move for me, Melissa, if you don't mind shifting to the next one. Awesome, thank you. So I want to bring this into our real world as leaders, right? When we're out of alignment, things don't go as planned. It's really that simple. And when I talked about results earlier, that's what I'm pointing to. If you take a look at your business, at your leadership and what's going on, you can answer that question, right? Are things going as planned or not? And there's three key areas. So starting with influence. Our influence gets cloudy when we give mixed messages with our body language, our tone, our choice of words, and conflicting beliefs. People feel it even when they can't explain it. So when we talk about influence, we know we don't have control over other people, right? We get that. But we do have influence. We do have the ability to influence, and that's what leadership is all about. It's about being willing to influence. And it's really our whole kind of goal if you look at it from that point of view. If we want to make a change in the world, we want people to see something different or step into a new way of being, or we want to stop something from happening. We want to stop the elephants being killed for their tusks, right? A fabulous example. How do we influence the world so they get on board, right? And if we go out there to influence the world and we're not congruent, we're not speaking from a place of authenticity, of truth, people will pick up that we're hiding something, and then they don't get on board. So, you know, the reverse of that is we stand in our truth, We're willing to be vulnerable. We're willing to, stand with courage, and it does take courage when there's opposition and when there's people that don't agree. But when we can do that, and when we can come from our truth, from our passion, to be able to speak to our purpose and our vision and really own that, it's solid, and people feel it as solid, and they're impacted. They're impacted emotionally. They're inspired, right? They want to get on board and they want to help. And those are the causes that are really making a big difference in the world today. It's a big part of it. And so when you're, taking a look at your business, are you making the influences you're wanting to make? Are you able to get people on board with your point of view? And you can, look at that from the point of view of clarity. Do they understand? Are they in agreement? Right? It's okay if people aren't in agreement. If they say no, hey, that's great, because now we know we're not on the same page. We can move on, right? So what we're looking for is a clear yes or a clear no. If it's anywhere in the middle, we're maybe not getting our point across. There's something that isn't coming across that they're able to make a decision. Yes, I'm on side with you, or no, I'm not. Okay, so that's a good test that you can play with. Now, relationships. Relationships are a really key aspect here, right? The quality of our relationships are determined by trust, and that is for the most part on an unconscious level, right? It's an unconscious decision. Our brain is scanning for these signals. Is it safe or not? And this is the big thing I was referring to earlier with businesses. People today are saying, I want to work with businesses I can trust. I want to know that if they say they're being friendly to the environment, that they are. If they say that they're recycling or they're doing things ethically, that they are. And look at what just happened with Volkswagen, right? I mean, this is real out there in the world, where companies are being held to a higher standard because the people are saying, I want to know I can trust you. If I'm going to put my money into your business, if I'm going to work with you and have a relationship with you, I want to know I can trust you. I don't want to be deceived, right? And some of this may have started from the financial point of view, but it's so much bigger than that today with all the things going on the planet. We can also bring this home to our relationships. What often happens in personal relationships, one of the big right challenges, is when we're not congruent, when we're not talking our talk and walking that talk, when what we're doing isn't lined up with what we're saying. It breaks down because we can't be trusted. So these are all the things we're pointing to, right? And they can be so innocent. They can be so innocent, and they can be things that we're not even conscious and aware of. So none of this is about blaming ourselves. Let's be clear on that, right? We're people, we're growing, we're learning, and this new information, this new education and understanding of how things are working is just giving us a chance to be better people and to do better in the world, right? So let's take that for the gift that it is. The third area is profits, money, right? Money's all about relationships. Our relationship, it starts with ourselves because it's about whether we believe we deserve money, whether we're okay with it, whether we think it's a bad thing or a good thing. So as I mentioned earlier, this idea of incongruent belief systems, here's a perfect place where it happens all the time. Somebody will start a business and say, I want my business to succeed. I want to make enough money to provide for my family, which means my business needs to do well. I need to have some profits here. And then at the same time, they've got a belief in the back of their mind that money's bad, that rich people are bad, that money's evil, right? They might have grown up with that programming and those beliefs. They might not be walking around talking about it, but it's still in the back of their mind. You've got two belief systems there that are in total conflict to each other. That person is going to have a constant struggle with making a living because they collide with each other all the time, right? The other part of money, besides our own relationship with it, is that money comes through other people. When you think about it, think about how real that is. Every bit of money that you get comes through somebody else. Whether you work for them, have a contract with them, sell something to them, have something gifted to you, inherited, even the lottery, people buying tickets. So all money comes from other people. Money is so tied to relationships, and relationships are about trust. Right? So this is a really key aspect as we kind of clean up our inner house, if you want to think of it that way, as we look for those belief systems that aren't in alignment, we look for the ideas and the teachings that are getting in the way, our fears about money, our fears about relationships and about people and about being hurt. Fears create an incongruent message because it's a going away from, a holding back, rather than a stepping into, right? So all of these areas, these are just, I'm sure we could do a longer list, but these are the, prime ones that you can look to in your life that will give you an idea if something is out of sort or out of alignment. And when we're at the beginning, we'll dig into these a lot more so that we can really dive in and see what's going on in your life, right? And sometimes it can be difficult to tease these things out because the reality is we live with them every day and we think of them as truths. We think of these things as just being the way it is because it's part of our belief system. So we're not even aware that there's a problem, that there's something that's clashing, right? We don't even have that awareness often. So this is something that getting a bit of support and help with is a good thing, right? So don't worry if it's not just popping out for you, or maybe you know that in your results something's there, but you don't know what it is, right? This is something that we can definitely work through. There's a way, all right? Let's see if we can move this slide along. Yeah, it doesn't want to go for me, Melissa. There we go. Thank you. So what does being an authentic leader really look like? We've alluded to it many times, right? We've pointed to it. So we're in alignment. So what that means is that the truth of who we are shows up in how we express ourselves, in the words that we choose, in the decisions that we make, okay? When we're aligned, when we're being the authentic us that we are, we never have to worry about showing up in a way that isn't us or being called on something that isn't us. We are in alignment. We are living, speaking, walking, talking the truth of who we are. And that does mean being vulnerable, as Melissa's example brought up. It really takes courage sometimes. And I'll just share with you a little hint, if I will, from my own experience. In the beginning, and I'm sure even in Melissa's story, in the beginning it took courage to say, hey guys, this is where it's at. This is what's going on. It does take courage. And I don't know that ever truly stops, but it does get easier. It gets easier and easier, where we're able to stand in that truth and stand in our vulnerability and just be real with it. And if you imagine a world where everybody around you is living that way, everybody has permission to be who they are and is accepted for who they are, that's a beautiful place, right? And I know it's coming. So passion is another piece of this, because if we're not living our passion, then we're not in alignment. We're not being congruent. If you're doing a job or running a business or something just for the money, that's the lack of passion is going to be evident. And I think some of the ways you can look to that are if you're exhausted, right? I've done this. I was doing bookkeeping because it's a skill set I know how to do, right? I'm capable of doing it, so I was doing it. It was painful. I had no passion for it, right? It was hard to go to work. It was hard to get energy. It was hard to want to. This is where procrastination would show up, and it would be just having the deadline. Got to get it done by the tax filing date that would push me to make it happen because I had no passion for it, right? So I wasn't aligned with who I was. It was a painful experience, in all honesty, right? So what about purpose? This is another piece. Purpose and passion are connected, for sure, but passion is more of that feeling, that juice, right, that's within us that gets us excited. Purpose is something, if you were to look at the world and ask, what that's going on in the world hurts me the most, right? A question like that, where it exposes to us what really doesn't work, what we're really unhappy about, that's going to point to what our purpose really is. And we're all unique that way, which is beautiful because there's so many things that we can work on in this world. We know this, right? From green energy to food to the markets to economy to people, relationships, everything. There's so many things in the world that can use some help and some attention right now. What is it that gets you fired up, gets you excited, right? Or angry or deeply sad? That's the sign that there's an injustice going on. So if you've got a value about the planet and about taking care of Mother Earth or about relationships and taking care of children, and you see something that's going on that's in opposition to that, then you're going to feel angry or sad. And these things are great ways for us to look at and say, you know, am I living my purpose? Am I actually doing what I'm here to do? Okay? And vision's the next piece that goes with that, because this is like the result of that. If I find something that really upsets me, for me a big one is injustice when it comes to humanity. The way that some of the things that are going on today, they just rip my heart out when I see them. There's no need. There's no need for all the poverty and all the pain that's on this planet, right? And so that points for me to my purpose. And so then the vision, of course, is what do I want to see that happen? Am I actually working towards it? Is what I'm doing supporting this idea that's important to me? So when we talk about alignment, when we talk about being an authentic leader, if we're actually living this life where we're being true to what is passionate for us, what our purpose is, what we really want to make a difference in, and working towards a vision that we really want to see, now we're in alignment, and boy, now we're on fire. Think about some of those leaders. Martin Luther King's a great example, right? Gandhi, another great example. Like these world people that we all know, they're fabulous examples to look for, because we can point to these things and say, yes, that's why the world was listening to them. Because they were passionate and committed, they had a vision and a purpose, right? And we were able to support them because it was clear. We knew exactly what was going on, and we knew that they were true to what they were talking about, and so the people supported them, right? There's some people today who are wanting to do this, but we can also look to a lot of leaders today and say, none of this is true. Like, what's going on? You don't even know what this person really stands for, because they keep contradicting themselves and saying different things every time they get a chance to speak, right? So we have no desire, or, we sit there in confusion with this big question mark over our heads. Like, what do you do with that? How do you support them? How do you get on board? When we can't trust that everything they do is going to be in alignment with us, because it's different all the time. Right? So being an authentic leader, we show up in the world in a way where people recognize us for what it is, and we're true to that, and we're consistent with it because we're living it, right? And people will know. This is how word of mouth and networking happens. People get to know you for what it is you stand for and what you're doing, and all of a sudden people in the community are able to go, that's her, that's your girl. As soon as somebody's talking about a problem, right, or talking about somebody they need, they're looking for a certain help, or they're looking for a way to get involved, and your name will come up, right? He's the guy, right, over there. That's the company. Because they can trust you. They know and believe and have faith in who you are and how you're showing up, right? Oh, now my clicker's working. All right. Okay, so what gets in the way? Let's take a look at this idea of what gets in the way. What gets in the way is often a lot of confusion. If we really look at this is belief systems, this is teachings, this is things that have happened over a lifetime that we're often not even aware of, right? There's a guy that I've been listening to lately, a book, and he refers to the idea of people getting up into your head, right? And it's this idea, which makes me laugh because it's kind of funny to think of, but it's so true. People tell us how to be and how not to be. When we did something as a child, we behaved in a certain way, and somebody said, you can't do that, or that was bad, or they shamed us for it, or embarrassed. It's like they crawled into our head, and now we're behaving in a certain way because of what they said. We're no longer being true to who we are, right? And so this is part of the whole thing that gets in the way for people, is because we've got all these programmings that we've accepted and we're not even aware that we did. A lot of them happened in our early years of life, right? And I know, hey, I'm a parent too, so I know our parents meant well. There's no blame or fault or anything like that that's needed here. We are all doing the best we can. My parents did the best they could, and I'm sure that's true for all of yours, even when it appears they didn't, okay? Because I believe that humans really do the best they can. And so we adopt these belief systems that when we're young, that are our parents, because that was their job, but they might not be ours. And have we actually taken a look at them? Have we actually gone through and said, these are my belief systems, this is what's going on, and I still want them? Right? Do you get that you can get rid of them? You can throw them away. You don't have to keep them. Right? A belief system is just like a bucket of thoughts that we've accepted as being true. So if we have a belief system that says money's bad, then you can let go of it. You can get rid of it. You can dump that bucket out. You don't have to keep it, right? Money gives us the ability to do good. How's that for a different belief system, right? So this is what gets in the way. The other thing that gets in the way is fear. If something happened, maybe people have all kinds of stories about starting businesses. I remember one of my earliest ones. I was a kid on a bicycle, all right, selling Regal. I was selling Regal door to door, and I lived on a small farm, and so I had to bicycle for miles, right, to house to offer them this Regal catalog and see if there was anything they wanted. That was my first experience with being an entrepreneur. And I remember my first customer that was unhappy about something. And that was painful for me. I was a kid, right? I mean, I didn't know how to deal with this, and my parents didn't know how to deal with it either. And somehow, even though despite their best efforts, right, and everybody doing the best they can, we're talking about probably a less than $20 item here, right? So this is small stuff. But I walked away from that with this idea that I was responsible for everybody else's happiness because I was responsible for my customer. So as much as there's some truth in that, the way that I connected that in my head, the way that I created a belief system, the conclusion that I drew was now that I was responsible for everybody. So when I had a business helping people set up a tax strategy here in Canada, one of the things that got in my way all the time was that I was afraid that people wouldn't do what I told them they needed to do. The tax strategy required that you documented certain things. It required the pieces that I put in place for them, but they needed to continue to use them. They needed to track and pay attention to it within the structure that was set up in order for it to pass the test with the government, with the tax man, right? And I was afraid that they weren't going to do it because I know people, I know me. I can get lazy and not do things. I can let things go sometimes, right? And so because I was worried about that, it got in the way of me actually really getting my business to take off. I wasn't able to separate the difference between my responsibility is to give them all the tools and information and set them up to win, and then their responsibility is to take action. I was holding the bucket for both sides. Okay, so these are things that happen for all of us, and it can be a bit to tease them out and get to the bottom of it, but we can't. And I can tell you that once I got to the bottom of that and let go of that energy, let go of that idea, that belief system, and reframed it to one that served me, I was so much better in business and so much more willing to step out there and work with people. It made a huge difference for me. Okay, so this is part of how we kind of know what's going on and how we can look to it. Partly I want to give you the message that I don't want you to take away that you've done anything wrong in any way with any of this, because we can't see this stuff often, right? We've got to become an explorer and go looking and get a bit of help and a different way of looking at things, all right? So I hope that I'm supporting you with that. Is that coming through all right, Melissa?
Yes, it is.
She might be.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right, so let's dive into what is the solution. Who we are and what we believe. These two need to be lined up, right? They need to be congruent. Can we get all the parts lined up and working together, right? And if so, how do we clean these things up so that we are congruent? I think you guys are getting the point, right? The importance of how important it is that we do it. So can we do it? How do we do it? So that when we show up in the world, we are our true selves and people feel they can trust us, which is the whole foundation for our success, right? So what is the solution? When we are true to our beliefs and our values, then our behavior will be in integrity with who we are. And that's a key piece, right? We want our behavior, the words we use, the way we show up, to be in integrity with who we are. Then how we show up is going to be powerful and captivating. People want more of whatever it is we have. And I've seen this. People will be like, I don't know what it is that she's got, but I want some of that, right? And it's their energy is alive and vibrant and pure, if you will, right? Because there's nothing blocking it or getting in the way, confusing it. Our choices will line up with who we are, and we won't regret any of the decisions we make, right? Because they're going to work out. Our decisions will be easier. And here's a reality that comes with this. When I deceive myself, when I'm not true to my purpose, my passion, when I don't make decisions that are in alignment with who I am, it's called self-betrayal. And Arbinger Institute is a company that's doing a lot of work around this, so I've been diving into it. When we betray ourselves, we start to see the world in a different place, because what happens first is we need to justify. We need to justify ourselves, and we need to say that I was right because we just made a decision, right, not to trust ourselves. We don't want to be the bad guy. This is the way our amygdala works. It works to keep us safe. And so the minute we start trying to justify something, if I'm not wrong, if it's not about me being wrong, then who is it? It must be whoever else is in my world. It must be them. And we move into this place of blame. And this is a big part of what happens in teams and what happens in the corporate world, is this place where people pull back and they don't share, and where they blame each other and they don't set each other up to win. When we talk about teams that are not effective, that are not getting the results that they need to get, self-betrayal is a big part of this. We get an inkling to do something kind for somebody, and then we don't follow through on it, right? That's a foundation for why these teams are so ineffective. Okay, so there's just a little bit of a tip here, because it's such an important piece. So back to what is the solution, right? This is important, so I hear you. We need to get there. The solution is about us. I'm trying to make this slide go, and it's not going. I go from 2 or 3 to not moving at all. Thanks, Melissa. So creating the roadmap, this is where we're talking about the solution here, and I want to just spend a few minutes on it because it's so important. Number one, yes, you can do it. In answer to the last slide, yes, you can do it. I've done it. I've changed my life significantly, and I've worked with a lot of people to help them do the same. So yes, absolutely you can. The first key is awareness. And that may seem simple or obvious, I don't know, but it's one that I don't want you to step over. If you spend time just with awareness, 80% of the problem is going to resolve itself, all right? Because what awareness does is it allows us to see things. It allows us to actually own what is, be present with what is, and the minute we do that, when we kind of take off that veil that's hiding everything, things shift. It's amazing how it just shifts. So the message is not that you need to go fix something. That's not it at all. You're not broken. I'm not broken. None of us are, right? We're not broken. It's not about fixing. It's about becoming aware. And so that's observing ourselves, right? So I want to give you a few tips. I want to support you with this so that if you're inspired to look into this, you can actually do something with it. 3 tips for awareness. First one is curiosity. Get curious. I find this stuff fascinating, right? And I admit some of the things in the beginning, I used to judge myself as being bad. When I saw a belief system that I didn't like, it was like, whoa, I have that belief system, and I'd be hard on myself. I didn't choose as a child to accept that belief system, so beating ourselves up really doesn't serve any purpose, right? At the end of the day, really just coming from a place of being curious, become the discoverer. I don't know what you remember about your childhood when it comes to being a discoverer, but Curious George was one of my favorite books. And then there was Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys and these kinds of things, right? this idea of getting curious and going on an adventure to see what's out there. That's the attitude or the mood that's going to serve you, because it's open. It's not based in fear. It's there's intrigue, right? And the brain is curious. The brain is always full of intrigue. It wants to know things. If we give our brain a question, it's going to work to solve it. That's what it likes to do. So if you get curious about something, your brain's going to go to work looking for it. And that actually opens up the ability to look at things that may be even a little uncomfortable. Okay? So curiosity is really a powerful tool. The second one would be judgment-free, which I've already pointed to a little bit. Beating ourselves up does not work. So being judgmental, right, is just stay away from it. Make a rule for yourself that it's not allowed. And if you catch yourself, just let it go. Just forgive yourself and let it go. Okay? It just doesn't serve. So it's the best we can to just say no to it. And the third one is zoom out. So what I mean by that, if you can imagine a photographer with a camera lens, and how you can zoom in and zoom out. And we know this on our computers these days with iPads and things like that, right? You can zoom in and zoom out. What I recommend is zooming out, so you're taking a step back. When you take a step back from things, you separate a little bit from the emotion of it. And that makes it easier to be objective, to be curious, and to look at it without judgment. Okay, so that's 3 tips that will really support you. And really what it is just beginning to notice ourselves. Notice the words we use. Notice the energy. Notice how we feel at the end of the day, or how we feel in a meeting. Because our body, how we feel, is an indicator of your truth. It's an indicator of your purpose, of what is important to you, of what your vision is, the change you want to see in the world. It's your body that comes alive when you see an injustice, right? Or when you get inspired about something. And that, for a long time we've been told to ignore our feelings, not pay any attention to them, but that couldn't be further from the truth when it comes to what's important in life and important as a leader, right? All good leaders start with personal leadership. You got to know yourself and your body and how it aligns with things, whether it gets excited or feels angry or sad, is speaking to you. It's telling you. It's pointing to what's important to you, right? And so self-awareness is the first step. The second one that I'll just throw in here is the reflection piece. So I'm going to give you 3 questions that you can ask yourself to support yourself with a better understanding, okay? So if we're in a meeting and like I just said, I'm asking you to pay attention to how you feel, and you come out of it and you feel icky, and you're tired and exhausted, cranky, whatever. It's like, what is that all about, right? So the 3 questions: what worked, what didn't work, what do I need to do different? They're ways in, right? What worked? What did I like about it? What didn't work? And we need to be honest with ourselves here, because this is what's going to point to whether we're in alignment with our passion, whether we're on purpose with what it is we want to do. If we have a vision and our board is pushing us around and trying to fit us into this little, robe, and it's no longer true to what our vision is, we're going to feel that. So these questions can help you become more aware, wake up to the truth of what's going on. And then when I say that's 80% of the work, for the most part it'll resolve itself. It will. When you see it for what it is, you'll know what to do. You'll know what change you want to make, right? So being conscious and present in the moment are your 2 best friends. And that is something that's new for a lot of people, and so it can take a little bit to get there. So make a game of it. Have fun with it, because it's a transition into a different way of showing up in the world. We have smart brains, and they're important, and we need them, but we have a whole lot more than just our brains, and we want to wake those parts of us up because they support us, right? And I'm going to turn things over to Melissa here, because I know that she's got some exciting things to share with you, and I have a special gift for you too that she's going to bring into this as we move forward. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Melissa.
Thank you. Now, again, I want to apologize for my voice. Yeah, I want you all just to kind of take a moment, and I want you just to think about like who you are and the gift that you are. And I'm going to be a little bit more interactive right now, so I'm going to have you guys use the chat feature. And I want you just to take a moment, and I'm looking at this pretty blue gift because I love to give gifts. So I want you just to take a moment. I want you to think about what is the gift that you want to bring to this world with your life and your business. Just kind of let that sink in for a second. I can share with you my gift is I really want to help other businesses be successful, especially other businesses that will make a difference in the lives of other people. It's like the ripple effect. If I can help you do your brilliance and do your greatness, then you're going to go help the people who you're meant to serve. And I'm all for the ripple effect because if I can say I fulfilled my purpose in my life, that I did what I'm here to do, and this ripple effect happened, I can be a part of changing humanity. That's what I want. I want to be a part of something like that. And so that was like the gift I wanted to give myself. I was like, okay, this is what I want. And then I'm also realizing I don't have all the tools to do it. And so I surround myself by other people they have the skill sets to complement my weaknesses and to complement my areas where I don't see myself. And then one of my other circle of influence people even brought around the next attention. I was like, well, listen, what do you really desire? So I don't know if you've been on these last couple webinars, if you heard the one with Emma Churchman. And Emma Churchman and I were having this whole conversation about desire and how desire can make a difference. And it's that energy of moving forward where you can work through that resistance, but you also have that ease at the same time to build your business and do what it is you want to manifest, but also be in action to get results. And so I was thinking about the whole gift idea with you guys. And I was like, okay, what is it that I desire? So I want to have a business that allows me to take vacations. I want to have a business that allows me to go to lovely places, that I have a chance to feed my soul because I know my default is I can work, 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 work. So here's my dream and my desire. I want to be in a place that can feed my soul. I want to be able to see something lovely. This is actually a picture in Monterey, California. And I see people post these things on social media of like, oh, I'm doing my business and I'm going down to the Caribbeans or I'm going down, it's like deep down internally, there was a part of me that actually was getting really jealous. I was like, oh, I wish I could do this. But I can't because of blah, 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 blah. And I had all these stories. So this was actually just my desire, is I wanted to be able to actually have my business, and I use the word actually because I know we talk about we want something, but it's almost like it's so far out in dreamland, it's not actually attainable. And so one of my roadmaps way of when I start to discover when something it's a desire, but I don't think I deserve it or it's within my grasp, I use the word actually. That's just my warning sign. So I would actually like to have a business that does this because I know I work so much. I would love where I could be surrounded by people who love to do what they love to do and we could work together. I love to eat. I will say that. I love food that just makes my mouth happy. Here's another picture in a restaurant that's actually in that same place in Monterey. And I was like, I know I work best when I'm sitting there, in a coffee shop or in a restaurant where I can pull up my laptop and I can just allow the creative forces around the environment and good food and just allow myself just to kind of like be recharged while I'm also doing my work. But also like being in a space that supports me so I can get stuff done. The other thing that I really want and desire is actually to be surrounded by, here I go, the words actually, to be surrounded by a group of people who are committed to helping and seeing me grow and be my fullest potential in my business. I've been a part of a lot of groups, and it's like you have one person who's kind of in charge or is in charge, even though that one person may be in charge of the group, there's other people who are peers who I could also rely on, that I can learn from, who could help mirror to me something I may not be seeing, who could be excellent JV partners for me, who could be somebody who could open a door. So I want you just to take a moment and think about, what would it be like if you actually had people who were committed to your success as much as you are to yours, who are willing to open doors for you, who are willing to call you out maybe on something you're doing that you don't realize is actually costing you time and money and stress, who want to see you laugh and have a good time and relax and show up in all of your brilliance, and who want to see your business go to that next level of really being able to make a difference, and you're doing it with ease and joy and fun, and it doesn't feel like work, 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 work. These are my dreams. These are my desires. And yet somewhere along the lines, we seem to have this vision and this desire, and actually be able to execute doesn't really happen. I'm great at executing, yet for some reason I couldn't give myself this gift. And I was actually struggling with my own inabilities. And it was actually my interaction with Trudy, because I had this idea of what if we actually co-create an amazing weekend where we're actually able to do this? And then my fear set in. Oh no. Who are you, Melissa, to be able to put something like this together? Melissa, what do you think you're doing? That's going to cost so much money. Who are you to have that kind of money to put together an event like that? And it was Trudy who actually was one of the ambassadors for me to go, Melissa, well, what about this? Think about it this way. What if you go about it this way? And then all of a sudden things became together, and we started co-creating together. And then people just started coming out of the woodwork. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this. Wait, this is a completely new way of being in business, where you're actually supporting and being there for one another. And wait, you're an expert in an area where I'm really struggling. I love this because one of the gifts that ends up happening is not only each of us where we are weak, someone else in the group is strong in. We have a Facebook group for all of us who are collaborators for the Big Giving. And one of the gifts that we're giving ourselves is we literally want to model what and how we work, so that those of you who do have a desire to come be a part of this can experience that same way of being. And I'll give you an example. Trudy. Trudy put a post inside our group, and so easily in business we can hide or not say something because there's a fear or a challenge of what they're going to judge me, or there's going to be opinion about something, or I'm supposed to be here already, whatever that comes up, those little gremlins. So Trudy puts this post inside our Facebook group, and she's like, okay, guys, I have a question. So I probably should know this, and I'm asking anyway, because I'm probably not the only one. How do you really market? I have all this stuff about this event. How do you actually do this? And it was so neat to see other people who are fellow collaborators step up and say, this is what you do. Do you have an email list? Send out emails this way, share on social medias. And it was very specific, step-by-step, tangible things to do. So here Trudy was able to get support and filling in a gap in an area that from other people who are specialists in an area to help her business grow, but also how she's able to support something else. So how does this all tie back into the gift? How does this all tie into me showing you all of these pictures Well, that's the gift that we want to give you. We want to be able to give you and your business the people, the time, the resources, and the opportunities to be able to take your business to that next level. The gifts of what is it you actually want? And I'm going to go back to that word actually. It's like it's out there, it's something you want, but it's not quite here yet. Let's help you get there. So you're hearing a little bit about my dreams, my desires, my gifts that I would love to have. And so it all started with me with, big journeys begin with small steps. So my big journey was, okay, I'm going to throw out everything I want to do for this big event on a piece of paper. It actually was like a flip chart piece of paper. And Trudy saw it and she's like, whoa, Melissa, this is amazing. This is really, really exciting. And so I want you to think about what is something you would love, absolutely love, but it just seems so far out there, or it's just like, it's not there yet. It falls into that actually, well, I would actually really like this. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help you take those steps to move in that direction of where you want to go. And I say we because you're not meant to do your business alone. If you're going to be this authentic leader that you are here to be, we want to be a part of that group to help support you as a leader. So I have a request for you right now. I would like you to take a look at where you want to go, and I want you just to take a small step. Because if you're taking a step forward, then at least you're making a step in a direction versus just standing still. And there's nothing wrong with standing still if you're gathering information, but my question is, how long are you just going to stand there? The direction of where you want and need to go is waiting for you. Are you being stopped by fear or don't know how or there's no way or any of those other things that get in the way? So I want you to take a small step right now. I would like to invite you, no, not we. I want you to take that in. We, not we. I say we because we are a group of people who are committed to growing you and your business. We are a group of people who have each other's back, who want to see each other succeed, who are willing to hold that space and allow you to be that authentic leader of if something's not working or you're embarrassed by something or whatever it may be, that you can actually be there and go, yeah, you know what? I'm not, this is where I'm at. These are the same people who would like to invite you to the big giving because we want to give you the biggest gift of all, everything you need to succeed and move forward and have it be completely customized for you. So we're inviting you to the big giving. The big giving are people coming from all over the world who are different specialists in different areas of business, who are all coming together saying, you know what, let's work collectively to help you. And I say you because this entire experience, it's a 3-day immersion, is completely customized for you. So what does it actually mean customized for you? It means that before the event even happens, we will get on the phone with you and find out who are you, what is your needs for your business, and what is your desires? What would be the biggest gift that we can give you for your business in your life? I was talking with one of the other people who's coming, Robert, and Robert was all like, I'm really looking for some clients. That would be the biggest gift for me. And so we got a chance to know what Robert's doing, where's he struggling, why is he not getting clients, what's needed, what are those missing pieces. And so literally before this event, he has a business advocate who is like, all right, I am here for you. What do we need to do? Okay, I'm going to introduce you to any and all of the collaborators who are specialists in your area. Who else can we get you connected with? All right, you're missing these pieces in your business right now. Let's go ahead and create your opt-in. Let's start growing your email list. So we look at who you are and what you need. And then during the event itself, we're actually going to be working with you, not just go talk, 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 but those areas of which you need to grow in that next level in your business, we're going to help you implement them. We're going to hold your hand. We're going to walk through with you how to do everything, and you actually get it done. And again, I go back to the word actually, because so many times when we go to events, we hear about things, we make this to-do list, and we don't actually implement them. Now you get a chance to implement them, all while having fun with one another, collaborating, hang out, have your soul be supported, and know that you're not alone in building your business. That all of us here are looking forward to you being successful. And this is why I use the word we. And all of us together, we are here to help you. So who are some of our people? So we have people who are millionaires. We have people who are best-selling authors. We have people who went from $500 a month to making over $20,000 a month, and they did that in their first month. And that was after years of them not doing well. And then all of a sudden, everything changed, and they've been consistent with this and growing year after year. We have people who are international speakers. So if you're looking at using speaking as an opportunity, we have people who are both speakers, and Anastasia is also, she's a speaker agent. So she's going to tell you what it's like working with an agent and what do you need to do. And if you're looking for an agent, she can even help you get booked as a speaker. That's who my agent is Anastasia. What does your brand look like, and how can your brand be upgraded? Maybe you want to write a book. Well, what's actually needed to help you get your book done? So these people are coming from a wide variety of different areas of business, and we're focusing on, your business, the infrastructure, the money, the entrepreneurship, client attraction, the basic business components, the branding and marketing components, the different areas of marketing specifically. All of these are being customized just for you. Big journeys begin with small steps. So here's where I want you to take a big step right now. Or technically, it could be a little step, but I want you to be a part of the big journey. I want you to put May 5th through 7th, Monterey, California, on your calendar for the big giving. That's it. So many people don't even put something on their calendar, so they don't even set the intention or the desire for them to come. And the place that we're doing our event, the big giving, they own the hotel and the actual beach. So we're going to be holding events on the beach as well as in the meeting room space, because we want to be feeding your soul as well as building your business to that next level. And so I want to give you a little bit of a difference between what we're doing, because we didn't want this just to be another event. So I mentioned before, we get to know you. We get to know where you're struggling. We get to know what's needed. During the event, we're going to have our collaborators speak on their expertise, but then you even get a chance to go sit down and go from collaborator to collaborator and work on specific areas. I'll give you an example of one of the areas. So Anastasia is going to be speaking on how do you get booked as a speaker. Well, during her collaboration time, her implementation time, you will then sit down with Anastasia and go, you know what? Where do I need to go to get booked? And she will create with you an actual step-by-step plan. So when you leave the big giving, you will know exactly where to go and what you need to do to get booked, because you've already created it. Here's your 10 places. Here's your people you're going to be talking to. Maybe you want to be using videos and do TV interviews. Trisha's going to be sitting down and she'll have you get in front of the camera and get comfortable having conversations and being interviewed, and actually help you understand ways that you may be consciously or unconsciously sabotaging your authority while you're doing interviews. And to know you can leave the big giving and have full confidence and be ready to go out and just do a rock solid interview to grow your business. Those are just some of the many ways that we're going to be working with you. Afterwards, we understand that when you go to an event, it's like a mountaintop experience. So we want to help you after the event and for 3 months after the big giving to connect with you, to follow up with you. Your business advocate will be there. And we will be holding mastermind calls to help you be accountable and give you that additional support to help make sure you are growing in the direction that you're desiring. We're giving you the foundation and the gifts to move forward to do this. So what does it actually mean for you to come to the big giving? Well, you'll get 6 months of the Brilliance in Business Collaborative Partnership. You'll get the ticket to the big giving. Your lunch will be included. We'll have hotel stay for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights at the Boutique Resort of Monterey Tides. Your business will be added to a business directory, which makes this entire event tax deductible. And again, you'll have access to the WeCare service. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to cost so much money. Well, we specifically wanted to make this at a price point that was going to work for you. So we have packages starting as low as 4 payments of $210. And so you can go ahead and register and claim your seat at thebiggiving.com/VIP. And we specifically wanted to do this. We didn't want this to be at a super high price point, even though it is a $10,000 package altogether for 6 months. And the one-on-one work you're going to get with all the collaborators. We wanted to keep this at a price point because we wanted this to be about you and your business. And we wanted to make sure that this was something that we didn't want money to be an excuse or a fear-based thing to stop you from coming. That's really where the honest truth comes down to it. It wasn't so much that, oh, money this, money that. It was like, no, I really wanted this to be accessible to people who maybe were concerned about, I would love to this, but the but word comes in. That's why it's priced as low as what it is I wanted to make this an easy yes for you to come say yes to you, because I know in my heart of hearts that all of us as a collective group can make a big difference in your business. And that just delights me knowing that. And I also know when I was getting my business going, I didn't have the money to go do something really big. And everything I wanted to do was like outside of my own realm of possibilities. And that's the way I was looking at it. And I wanted to make this accessible for all of you. So, like I said, 4 payments as low as $210. The other thing that we're doing is we're offering some bonuses if you decide to sign up in the next 48 hours. One of them will be an accelerated VIP business day with me, only for the first 8 people who signed up for this. And Trudy, I know you mentioned you had a special bonus for people as well if they sign up in the next 48 hours. What was that?
Oh, I really just want to offer people an opportunity to connect with me and have a session where we can dive into just really looking at what might be getting in their way for them. You know, all the things I talked about being an authentic leader. It can be difficult to see for ourselves what's going on. So, you know, for anybody who signs up for the Big Giving, you can have a session with me where we can dive into it and really take a look at it for you, customized for you, and give you some insight that'll support you to move forward.
Excellent. Love that. So if you want access to both these bonuses, as well as everything else, go ahead and claim your seat at thebiggiving.com/VIP. So I just wanted to leave that with you guys. I wanted to wrap it up and just say that this is a gift for you. This is a way that you can fully express your authentic leadership. And this is a way to be supported by other people who have the skill sets, who are people who have walked the talk and proven their business model and bringing together different areas so that they can all support each other. And that's what we're here to do with the Big Giving. It's a chance where we can really take you and your business to that next level and do it in a way that's really authentic for the way that you are. Is there any questions or anything that you would like to share, Trudy, as we wrap up?
I'm just so excited about it, Melissa. There's so many amazing people that are coming to this event. I know that anybody that comes is going to get the benefit of building their business, of getting that next step, whatever it is that's going on for them, to take things to another level. It's an amazing group of people coming together. So, yeah, I don't have any questions. I'm just excited.
Yay! I'm excited. I can't wait to see all of you in person. And I say all of you, we only have limited space. I mean, we specifically are having this be a small, intimate group so we can be customized just for you. So this is not going to be a 500-person event. This is only, that we're going to max out at 225, and that includes us as attendees as well. And we're all just really committed and have that be personalized for you. I will leave with, how are you going to be an authentic leader? How are you showing up? And what would it be like if you had the support, people, and resources to actually take it to that next level? What could really happen? And are you willing to take that step to be the authentic leader that you are here to be, and allow us, all of us at the Big Giving, to support you with the people, the resources, the expertise, and the opportunities to actually make it happen? Thank you, Trudy, again for joining us. Thank you, all of you, for being with us today. And I wish you all a fabulous day. Take care, everybody. Bye.